Today's Rambam, Hilchas Tein V'Nitten Perik Aleph Halacha Gimel. So we'll learn over here in Rambam the dinim of Shavuos Deiraisa and Shavuos Meideh B'Mitzvos. We have with the Rambam Paskins that even though there's a Shavuos Deiraisa by Meideh B'Mitzvos by a case of Halach, so then you're Potter Mishvuos Deiraisa. Yeah, so you do it. It's a Machloikis, Gemara B'Mitzvah, Davdalid, Rav Chia, and Rav Sheshes. Because normally a Meideh B'Mitzvos when the Malva is demanding 100 and the Leva is admitting to 50, so the Leva is Chayev a Shavuos Deiraisa, Shavuos Meideh B'Mitzvos. But if the Leva says I'm Meideh 50 v'Halach, so Rav Chia says that he's still Chayev Shavuos Meideh B'Mitzvos. Doesn't change anything. There was a Tviyah of 100, and the Leva was Meideh 50, and he said v'Halach, so you still Chayev. And Rav Sheshes says that Halach is Potter. Yes, that the Leva said he was made b'chamishim, and those chamishim zakter shen halach. So then that's like off the table, and there is no Shavuos Deiraisa. The Rambam, like most Rishonim Paskin, like Rav Sheshes, that halach is potter. Aber vasi does halach? What kind of a case? What creates that it should be halach? Because in them, there's a number of machlekes, and the Rambam has a very unique and very somewhat extreme shita legabi halach. I want to go through with you. I will see a couple of dinim where the Rambam holds different than many or most of the other Rishonim. So first is here in this halacha. Again, Perek Aleph halacha Gimel. The Rambam says, "Hatein metalton lachavere v'kofar bekel v'amar lehoy bar meila." That's the din of a kefar akel. For sure, it's part of Mishvuah Mediraisa. Oy shahoyda b'miktsas unisonoi miyad v'omar in lecha biyodi elozev v'helach. The way the Rambam is metayir the case of Halach, he says, "Unisonoi miyad." The Malva asked for 100. The Leva said, "I owe you 50." Unisoni, and he gave it to him. So this is Potter Mishvuos HaTorah. That's the din of Halach. The Pashtus Lashon Rambam is mashma. Looks more than mashma. It's muchach l'chuur. It's muchach that Halach is when the Leva hands the Malva the $50, the Halach that he was made. The Ma'aseh is, if you look in the Torah, the Shulchan Aruch, over there it says that the Leva says he's made the b'chamishim umuchan biyodoi bebezdin litnei lei, that the Leva is ready to give it. There's a very big difference between unisonoi and umuchan biyodi litan. So that's in Shulchan Aruch. The Torah and the Shulchan Aruch both say that if the Leva is made and is muchan biyodi, that's called halach. And the Shach over there in Sivkat and Beis, this is in the beginning of Siman Pei Zayin, Mishpat. The Shach is very strong about this. The Shach brings that this Sameh on the Shulchan Aruch writes Kivan the Nosan Loi, it's halach because he gave it. And the Shach is very masig. He says, what kind of Nosan Loi? The Torah and the Shulchan Aruch said Muchan Biyod. And he says that's also the day of the Ran, and that's the day of the Muki Yesef. And he says, the Shach says, even though the Balatrumas is mashma also that he says that the Leva has to give that chelik, but even the Baal HaTrumas, the Shach says he doesn't believe that he meant it b'dafki. Al Kaponim, this is the first shita miyuchedes with the Rambam is very strong. That halach is when the Leva mamash gives it, he gives the chelik that he was made, he gives it to the Malva. Mashenki in the Torah Shulchan Aruch, shitas hashach, the Shach says it's the Ran, it's the Muki Yosef, it's the shita of Reva Rishonim that doesn't need a nesino mamash. Elamai muchan biyod. The Rambam, maybe the Baal HaTrumas, says that it has to be Nosan. That's one. The Nochazach. The Rambam, in the third parak of today's Rambam, Perek Gimel, Halacha Tezvav, the Rambam gives a seer. Mone v'keli yesh li biyodcha. A Malva tells a person, a Leva, he says, there's a money that you owe me money, and also there's a keli you're holding for me. And the Leva says, Ein lecha biyodi ela keli v'helach. I only have the keli v'helach. Right there is potter. That's it. Zogt in Magid Mishnah that we're talking about mana the keli. The keli is a pikodim. Mana is money. Money is a halva. Keli yesh l'biyotcha is a pikodim. From the Rambam Zetzach is that even by a pikodim, in order for it to be halach, the guy has to have it in his hands and say halach, not there, take it. And that's different than the Rishonim, the Ramban and the Rashba. All of them say, when it comes to Pikodin, the din is wherever it is, it's considered Birshus ha-mafkid. And Memela, as soon as the nifkat is made that he has the keli, it's considered a case of halach. Because the Rishonim on the Sugi in the beginning of Messiah, the Ramban and the Rashba and others, they say that when do you need to bring the money to Bezdin? When does it have to be Mezumin Biyodi? That's by Alvo. Mashenga by Pikodin, there's no need for that. Because by Pikodin, again, wherever it is, it's B'Shus HaOdin, B'Shus HaMafkid, B'Shus the owner. Mashenkin from the Rambam over here in the end of Perek Gimel, but I stay Zogin Magid Mishnah, that even by Pikodin, the Rambam needs, it's not enough as B'Shus Shal Nifkod, you have to bring it, and that's stop giving Halach. And weiter, we have the Shach over there in Simon Pezai, in Sivkot and Gimel, and he says also very strongly that by Pikodin, you don't need to have to bring it. And he says that's the shit of the Ramban and the Rashba, and that's the shit of the Ran, and the Balaturma says it in the name of the Balamor, and the Muki Yesef, V'chein Niri Ikir B'Shas. The Shach is very strong that that's the Psak Din. But here again, the Rambam is different. The Rambam holds even by Pikodin, the Afman is bringing, the Lev has to bring it, and Obgevim has to give it to the Malva in order for it to be the Halach. That's the Magid Mishnah is Medaik from the Rambam, and the Kesef Mishnah is masking. Even though he says that the Raya, the Magid Mishnah brings from Perek Gimel, comes with Dingen in them, he has a different shot, but he says from Perek Aleph, it's Muchach, that's the case. I'll find him every, the Kesef Mishnah, the Magid Mishnah are both masking, that's a Rambam. Chabta Shena Tzveita Machlekes of the Rambam and the Rishonim. Dinochida Adriter Machlekes. And that already goes into tomorrow's Rambam, Perek Dalit Haloch Evov. And that is, the Rambam writes, Mone libi yotcha al mashkin ze. A malve demands from a leve money, says, you owe me $100, but he's holding a mashkin in his hand. And the leva is moide that he owes the chelik of the mashkin. But that mashkin is already biyodei shel malva, right? The mashkin is holding the malva. So the mashkin says to the leva, you owe me $100. And for 50, I have a mashkin. I'm holding it in my hands. And the leva says, I only owe you 50. That's the mashkin that you have. That's what I owe you. Zakti Rambam, you have to swear. You have to swear a shvua. You have to swear a shvua deiraisa. In other words, it's made of a mixas. It's not halach. Why is it not halach? Because the leva didn't pay the halach that he owes. Einachanami the malva has a mashkin, but a mashkin is not considered payment. Again, here we have many rishonim that argues the whole arichas and the mukiyesef over here in the sugi and bab mitzid avdalet. And if there's a mashkin, if the leva is giving a mashkin for the chelik that he's made, is that a case of halach? So you come to the Shulchan Aruch Simon Pezayin. Here it's like a machlekes, the mechaber and the Rambam. The mechaber paskins that a mashkin, like the Rambam, that a mashkin is not called halach, even though there's a mashkin on the chelik that is being made, it's not called halach. But the Rambam says no, that a mashkin is called halach because you gave the mashkin, you already gave that, the chelik that you're made, there's a mashkin already that's there for it. So halach. And then it says, I don't want to get into it, but even when the Mechaber says that a mashkin is not called hilach, he doesn't go as far as the Rambam, because the Mechaber is talking about when the malva is demanding payment. He says, "You owe me $100," and the Levi says, "I owe you $50," and here is a mashkin on the 50. He's giving him now a mashkin on the 50. The Rambam says, "Nachmer, even if milachatchila there was a halva for $100 and an asinas mashkin, so the malva from always was already holding the mashkin, it's still not called hilach." And there's many Rishonim who say that in the case of the Mechaber Taki, it's not called Hilach, but in the case of the Rambam, it is called Hilach. It's a Sugya Rucha Mashkin, I don't want to go into it. But Legabi, what we're doing over here is we're showing a number of Shittas where the Rambam is a Shitta Miyuchid in Hilach. And in all of the three cases that I brought out, the Rambam is a Machmir in Hilach. In other words, in order to be Hilach for the Rambam doesn't accept anything aside from the ultimate Hilach of Nesone Biyode. This is that the Levi is made in $50 and he hands it to the Malva. That's the only way it could be Hilach. And as again, Aleph, it's not enough that it's Muchan Biyode Litain, like most Rishonim say. Beis, even by a Pikodin, it's not enough for a Pikodin, it says B'Shus HaMafkid, name, by a Pikodin also has to be Hilach. And Gimel, giving a mashkin for the chelik that you owe, or even if you had milchatchila mashkin for the chelik that's owed, all of that is not called halach, because the Rambam holds halach means saiba milva, saiba bikotin, that there's a tashlum in mamish on the chelik that the leva was made. And in every one of these three dinim, we saw kama v'kama, or some of them reiva rishonim that are mechulek and Rambam. Nice is that then there's one more case I want to talk about, and here it changes. Here suddenly the Rambam is like a mekel in Halach. So the Rambam calls something Halach that most other Rishonim don't call Halach. And here it's related to Nishapchu Advorim. And where is that? So that's also in Perik Dalet. In Perik Dalet, tomorrow's Rambam, Halachah Dalet. And there the Rambam says, he says, Ein moide b'miktzas chayif shvua, at sheyede b'dovar she'efsher le lichper bei. The hidah has to be in something that he could be kefir. Ketzah. He says, first, I'm not going to read the Lashon Rambam, I'm going to say it Balpeh. He says, if the malva is demanding $100, and he says, on 50, he has a star. And on 50, he doesn't have a star. He's demanding all 150, there's a star 59. And the Levi says, I'm moide on the 50 of the star. You have a star on 50, those 50 are moide. So the Rambam, ein zeh moide b'mitzas. This is not moide b'mitzas. Why? Shehashtar lo'toyil beikfirose. The 50 of the star, the Levi can't be kefir. Very called nechasa mishubadin bei. Vafilu kafir bei chayav l'shalom. Lefichach nish b'heses ala chamish. The Rambam has a chidush adin. The moide b'mitzas can't be if you're being moide on a davar she'ef shelichper bei. Being made the chilik that you're being made, you couldn't be kefir. That's not a moide b'mitzas. Und da hitz sich an a ganze Meise in the Rishonim. Where did Rambam get this Hagdorah from? In the Gemara, there's no such Hagdorah. In the Gemara, the Gemara talks about, and Daled the Mabezin, but Metzia, about a person who has a star on a chelik. So if you have a star on the chelik, and the Levi is made on the star, the Levi doesn't swear made in mixes. The Gemara says, because a star is a shibud karkois, veinish boy not fit a shibud karkois. That's what the Gemara says. So the Rishonim say, so that the Rambam learns the Hamshach of the Gemara that in a Chanami, the Gemara says that to experiment for Rav Chia who doesn't hold of Halach. But we hold that Halach is potter. So Mela, the Rambam holds that the reason why why the Levi wouldn't swear when he's being made on the Halach of the star is because it has a din of Halach. Why, if you have a star, is a din of Halach? Here the Rambam was mechadish because a davar she'ef shelichper. Since you can't be moide in that chamishim, so therefore it's like Halach. It's like Halach. Those chamishim you can't be moide in. So you can't be kaifer. So it's as if the Malva already has it. It's like Halach. That's as they learned from the Rambam. Now remember, there's a lot of pratim over here. The Gemara said a svara that it's a star shibud karkois. Why didn't the Rambam say there's potter because shibud karkois? So the emes is this we spoke about in last week's shir. The Magen Mishnah says the later Rambam once is a takonas hagainim that a star can be given metaltalin from Yisemim, so it's not just a shibud karkois, it's also a shibud metaltalin. Good if someone heard last week, he knows what I'm saying. Otherwise, it's a Magen Mishnah asugi b'fnei atzma. Okay, so the Rambam couldn't say the answer of shibud karkois. But if you take a look at the Gemara, but he says fakert, since the Gemara says the shibud karkois is a raya that ef shelichber is not a problem. That's not a problem. The fact that he can't be kefir, that doesn't make something that doesn't make something halach. Just because you can't be kefir, so it's not halach. In other words, over here the Rambam is being mechadish, a new din that yes, which again the Gemara doesn't say such a din anyway, but it's the Rambam's achidush that when the malva is demanding something and the Levi is being moida in a chelik, but that chelik the Levi had to be moida. Here the Rambam says that is halach, and here we have the pella. In the three first dinim that we talked about, the fact that the Rambam holds dafke halach, you mamash have to pay the man biyadayim, and even by pikodin you have to pay biyadayim, and even a mashkin is not halach. In all of these cases, the Rambam was the ultimate machmir more than all the Rishonim. It's not halach until you mamash paid up. And then here in the fourth din it's fakert, where the other Rishonim are comfortable saying that just because you couldn't be kaifer, that doesn't mean that it's halach. L'peil you're being moida and you still have to pay. You couldn't be kaifer, but you still have to pay, so you're being moida. That's not called halach. And here the Rambam is suddenly mekel and hilchas halach kilu. That since you're being moida and a davar shaloiha yachal lichper, that's also called halach. So of course this needs a hasbara. What's the nekudas hadvarim mishitas Rambam which explains that in the first three cases, the Rambam is so much machmir on what it takes to be hilach, and then in the fourth case, Farker, he turns around and tells all the other Rishonim who before he argued one direction, now he argues the other direction. Vasad in Kudas Hadvari is l'cheira one word, and that is that the Rambam holds like this. What's Taki the Pshat that when it's Halach, by the case of Halach, it's Potter? Because what happened is a Shvuas Moide B'Miktzas here. Moide B'Miktzas, you're Chayiv B'Shvuah. And if Sheisha said, and the halacha is that if you're Moide B'Miktzas, but you said Halach, so then you're Potter of Shvuah Deraisa. Why? What's the logic in Shittas Rambam? That the Rambam, the only way that Halach patters you, if he says that the Heidah is not existent anymore. In other words, a Heidah is Mechayiv. Heidah b'miktzas and kfirah b'miktzas, the Heidah is Mechayiv. The med dvarim amurim a Heidah is Mechayiv, ebs Heidah. Says the Rambam, Heilach is the pshat as nishdokin Heidah. Farvos nit, because I paid it already. If you paid it, there's no Heidah, it's finished. The Heilach that you were made is paid up. So that is not part of any story anymore. Now there's only a kfira. There's a kfira and chamishim, and that's all. And that's why the Rambam was machmir in Halach and all those first three dinim. The other said, if it's mezumin biyadi l'shalom, it's called Halach. Mezumin biyadi l'shalom, there's still a Heidah. There was a Heidah, and that's machayiv me to pay, and it's mezumin biyadi to pay up my Heidah. Or by a pikotin, that's b'rshusei, I still have to bring it to him. By a mashkin, but I still have to pay the money. The mashkin is not the payment. The Rambam holds that the only time Halach works is if it finished the Heidah. So Nishdokin Heidah. Why is Nishdokin Heidah? Because the Heidah is not mechayiv anything anymore. Because it's paid up. If it's paid up, so Nishdokin Heidah. So then that's Halach, then it's pot. Why in one case the Rambam is talking Meikil in Hilchas Halach. He says, by a star she'iyaf shelich perbei. So there's also no Heidah. Why? I don't need your Heidah. He does the pshat when I have to be moided to something. A star says, ich darf nicht ein Heidah. You don't have to be here b'chlal. It's iyaf shelich perbei. So leit tzrichim leheidah osei. So there's no Heidah hamechayeves. If there's no Heidah hamechayeves, it's the same thing like him. So all the other Rishonim advices learn differently. But then that's not the gather of Hilach as nishdokin Heidah. Elamai, I'm ready to pay up. It's mezumin biyodi. It's a pikodim. It's a mashkin. So they say just because iyaf shelich perbei. So what? Iyaf shelich perbei. B'lepel I was made, then I have to pay it. I didn't pay it yet. It's not mezumin biyodi. But later Rambam satifir revert in Halach. The nukudi is as nishdokin Heidah. How is nishdokin Heidah? Other as metishin ogit salt is already paid up. Other as melachatchila there's no Heidah because there's no need for Heidah because iyaf shelich perbei. Zekem and Efsher Masber Zayin the shita of the Rambam hamyuchedes in the halacha for him.